The Laval Rocket clinched a playoff spot for the first time in franchise history, and today we're sitting down exclusively for a chat with Lukas Vejdemo. Hey Canadiens fans, welcome to this week's episode of Habs Hockey Report right here on All Habs Hockey Magazine's YouTube channel and part of Rocket Sports Media. I'm your host of the show each and every Thursday. My name is Amy Johnson. I'm also the lead correspondent at ahlreport.com, and we're glad you're here with us today. We've got a great show in store for you. Can't wait to start talking about the Montreal Canadiens as they wind their season down. Can't wait to talk about the Laval Rocket as their season is just heating up as they clinched a playoff spot. And today we're joined by Lukas Vejdemo, Habs prospect Lukas Vejdemo, for an exclusive one-on-one interview. That's coming up later in the show. So before we get to that, I just invite you to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We don't want you to ever miss an episode each and every week of Habs Hockey Report. And we also just want to get you thinking about and starting to comment on this week's feedback forum question. And of course, this one, of course, is a tribute to the late, great Guy Lafleur. Unfortunately, we all learned the sad news last week of Guy's passing. And so I'd like to welcome you to leave this week's feedback forum comments down below, just telling us what your favorite Guy Lafleur memory is. What's the one thing about Guy Lafleur as a person, or one moment in his hockey career that stands out to you as your favorite memory of Guy Lafleur? Can't wait to hear these responses and can't wait to share them next week on the show. Well, the Montreal Canadiens season, of course, is winding down this week. Their regular season is coming to an end. They've only got one more game left to play. Of course, they had to do things in dramatic fashion. You know, everyone's watching those bottom of the barrel standings now, hoping and fingers crossed that the Montreal Canadiens have the best chances at getting the first overall pick in the draft lottery. And they played last night at Madison Square Garden. Of course, Jeff Petrie had to show up with a couple of goals. I mean, you know, can't do anything else but make it interesting, right? So it's going to be very curious to see how the Canadiens really do finish out the season. They have one more game to play against the Florida Panthers, of all people. And of course, allhabs.net will have you covered fully for that. Just because, however, the Canadiens season is coming to an end this weekend does not mean that Habs Hockey Report is coming to an end for the season. Oh no, my friends. We will be here each and every week. There is still plenty of hockey to talk about within the Canadian system, particularly with Laval heading to the playoffs. And we'll keep you apprised of all of the Montreal Canadiens news in the off season as well. There's always plenty to talk about. So again, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. One of the big things this week, however, was Carey Price, again, back on the injury list, listed as day-to-day, traveled with the team to New York to go see the doctor who did his knee surgery over the summer. So right now his status is kind of still in question as to whether or not he's actually going to play one more game this season or not. For me, I'd like to see them just shut him down for the season. He came back, he played a few games, he played decently. I'm sure there's a lot of, things with his body and his recovery that still need work over the summer. I don't think he has anything to prove to anyone, and I don't want to see him risk getting injured just for the sake of playing another game. But we'll have to wait to see how that's actually all going to shake out. Always interesting juggling this year with the goaltenders. There's always something happening and going back and forth. And here's just another chapter in that saga this year. But we wish Carey Price all the best and hope that he is feeling good. As I mentioned at the top of the show, of course, we learned last week on Friday the terrible news that we lost Guy Lafleur last week. We've seen just an tremendous outpouring of emotions and memories and support all across the Habs fan base, all around the world in response to this news. And Again, it's our feedback forum question this week. I invite you to just leave a comment down below with your favorite Guy Lafleur memory over all the years of his career, or even is his post-playing career. If you have a favorite memory, maybe you met Guy Lafleur in the last recent years or so. We'll read those answers for you next week on the show, of course. For a really deep dive into immediate reactions and talking about Guy Lafleur, though, I invite you to go listen to the Canadiens Connection podcast from last Saturday. Rick Stevens, Chris G, Michael Spinella, all members here at Rocket Sports Media. They hosted last week's Canadiens Connection podcast and did a tremendous job, including some input from another teammate, Brian Clark, who was in there as well, and giving their thoughts, their memories, their opinions, and just paying tribute to Guy Lafleur. So go check that out. You can see that right up here. We'll talk about a Rocket booster this week. The big news is that the Laval Rocket clinched a playoff spot. It's the first time in franchise history that they're officially heading to the postseason, to the Calder Cup playoffs. Wow, is that exciting. The fans have been packing it in at Place Belle, really supporting their team. The environment there has been just absolutely electrifying. I think the city, the fan base, they're all ready to watch the Laval Rocket go on a run and see how far they can make it. You know, we talked to Nate Schnarr last week. He talked about the fact that he thought that the team that they have assembled could go pretty deep in the playoffs. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch to see how that all unfolds. Now we have to look to see where will they finish the regular season in the standings. They've lost 4 in a row. They just dropped a heartbreaking overtime game against the Toronto Marlies last night, losing that one 5-4. And Syracuse keeps winning somehow. And so Laval has dropped to 3rd place in the division for the first time in a long time. And that is going to have some implications. I'm not going to run through that whole scenario of how the new look for the Calder Cup playoffs works now and what the positioning means. Instead, I'm going to invite you to click this link up here. Go listen to this week's episode of the Press Zone podcast, hosted by myself and Rick Steven, and we take you through soup to nuts, A to Z, exactly what the implications are for Laval this week, as well as what the scenarios for possible first round buys or first round opponents could be. Breaks it all down in a very quick podcast. You want to check that out for sure. Now, before we get to our one-on-one interview with Lukas Vejdemo, I do want to share some unfortunate news. We actually recorded this interview, Lukas and I, a couple of weeks ago, not long after he was back from an injury that had kept him out for a couple of months, and he was still actively playing. Unfortunately, about a week after we recorded this interview was when he got injured playing against the Cleveland Monsters, and it has now been announced that he underwent hamstring surgery, earlier this week, and his recovery is expected to be about 7 months. It's really an unfortunate situation for Lukas. It's going to put him out of playing shape until probably November. Maybe if his rehab goes well, he can start playing again in October. But it's an unfortunate situation. We're certainly hoping that he's going to have a terrific recovery. We know what a fighter Lukas Vejdemo is. He's battled injuries in the past and always come back strongly. So we wish him the best. And now, without further ado, however, there was lots to talk to Lukas Vejdemo about in terms of, him growing up in Sweden as a hockey player, and he's the longest tenured member of the Laval Rocket. He's been with the Canadiens an awful long time, and so there's a lot of great things to talk about: his experiences, his development, and just learning a little bit more about Lukas Vejdemo. Well, this week on Habs Hockey Report, I am so thrilled to welcome to the show for the first time, but not the first time we've had a chance to sit down and have a great chat with him. Laval Rocket forward and Montreal Canadiens prospect Lukas Vejdemo is joining us today. Lukas, thanks so much for taking some time to join us.
Thanks for having me.
It's been an exciting year for the Laval Rocket this year. That's for sure. It's actually, we have to go back to your days with Djurgårdens, to the last playoff run that you got to go through, believe it or not. How exciting is it for you to be in the hunt for the postseason this year?
No, for sure. As you said, it's been a long time since I played a playoff, and to be in the race to battle for a playoff spot, it's really fun, and every game here matters. And I think we have 12 games left here now, and it's all division rivals. So for sure, we're excited, and I'm looking forward for the end of the season here. And yeah, we're gonna make everything to get that playoff spot.
Are you surprised at all at how tight the standings are for the North Division this year?
A little bit. I mean, for sure, I knew it was going to be tight, but it's really, really tight in the standings. And yeah, there's a lot of good teams. And yeah, I mean, during the year, it's been a different year with the COVID, and guys been sick and injured, and like it's a lot of moving part in the rosters. But yeah, it's a tight standing, and as you said, it's a little bit surprising, but it's just fun to have important games, and every games matter here. So yeah, that's just fun to play games that really matters.
You've been a part of the Laval Rocket for a number of years now. How is the feeling different in the dressing room this year compared to years past?
I mean, we have a really good group. We had it last year, and all my years here have been fun and different. But it's for sure it's been different this year. We have a lot of guys that been here for a while now, and it's coming in new guys and fresh guys. So it's we have a good chemistry and have fun outside the rink too. So we come along really well, everyone, and yeah, it's been a fun year so far, and we're excited for the end here.
Going along with that, new coaching staff, aside from Marco, of course, who's been here for a number of years, aside from him, new coaching staff this year, how big of a change, both team-wide and for you personally, has JF Uhl and his assistant coaches had an impact on all of you?
For sure, it's a change. Every coach has their style, and JF is different compared to Joel. He's let us players do a lot of the work, and like there's not he leave much to us, and we got to get prepared, and we're professionals, so like he let us play, and it's been going good for us. I feel when we're all there and play our best, we're a really good team, and we're hard to beat. So I mean, we play fast and with a structure, but not too complicated. And I like that we don't think too much on the ice. Just everyone is gonna play their game, and I like that style.
I'm going to take you back a little bit now. First to your rookie season. Of course, you had 29 points on that season. It was a tremendous rookie campaign for you. And as it goes, and I know that you know that now in hindsight, as it goes with player development, there's ups and downs and COVID shutdowns that no one could predict and things like that in between. What has, this season you've kind of come back into your own a little bit, and what has that journey been like for you to get back to the kind of game that you're playing now? And is it the same style of play that you were playing your rookie season, or have you kind of embraced taking on a different kind of role in the team?
It's hard to say, but I think for sure you develop every year, and you get older, and like I just try to do the stuff I'm good at, and I know when I play good, I use my skating, I play hard, and I'm not really like points and offensive guy, but when I do the stuff I'm good at, I'm good. Yeah, I'm help the team to win games, and I feel I know myself better now as a player, and I just need to focus on that for every day and every game you get into. You need to be ready mentally, and I think I learned that during the years here. It's a lot of games during a season, and it always goes up and down. But it's you can have you can't have too long of dips in your game. You need to bounce back and be ready every game. I mean, it's not every game's gonna be your best, but if you can have a high level and bounce back if you have a bad game, it's you need to learn that. And I felt that's what I've learned during the years here to mentally prepare for every game. And yeah, so I feel that's a part I learned mostly here to work with myself and be ready mentally.
We mentioned at the top of this segment your time in Djurgården. Of course, you grew up in Sweden and spent a lot of time playing in Swedish leagues. Going to take you way back. What's one of your first hockey memories? Is it when you started skating? Do you have memories of hockey even before you started skating?
I don't know, actually. I remember, I would say, like, when I was young, we had an outdoor rink there, like 10 minutes from my house where I was living. And my dad took me there every weekend, and we skated together. So if I go way back, that's probably what I'm first thinking of.
How soon did you know that hockey was something that you were passionate enough about that you wanted to really focus all of your energy on hockey?
It took some time. I mean, I played a lot of sports when I was younger, especially soccer, and I think I played the soccer until I was 12, where until that it was kind of hard to combine at that when you got that old, and still wanted to like be on a high level on both sports. So then I decided to quit soccer. I had some problem with my knees too, and I decided to go full with hockey. And I felt since then I really liked. I picked that decision, and since then I kind of just love hockey. And back then you didn't know how or how well it was gonna go, but for sure I put a lot of work in, and now when you look back at the journey you had, it's kind of fun, and I'm proud of myself for sure.
Who were your idols growing up? Whether it was guys playing for the Swedish national team or guys in the NHL, who were the players that you were idolizing when you were a kid?
I would say biggest idol was for sure Peter Forsberg. He was it's kind of easy to pick his name. I mean, he was dominating the NHL when I was young, so and he had everything in his game too. So I looked a lot of him, and I also remember a guy that I don't think he played NHL, but he was good in Sweden. And his name was Matthias Weinheimel. He's I know probably not that known that his name, but he was a really good player, and I remember he was a sniper, I think, and I really liked him.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, you're talking about a guy that you idolized, who you say, okay, maybe not too many people in North America might know his name because he didn't play in the NHL, but talk about hockey in Sweden and how much of a part of the culture in Sweden it is, and how important hockey is. We know that Canadians are born with hockey in their blood, of course, but is it just as important in Sweden?
Maybe not as big as here in Canada, but for sure it's one of the biggest sports, and Sweden has always been good in hockey, so it's always easy to follow them, and in the big tournaments everyone is watching. So for sure it's a big part of the sports in Sweden and the culture there. So yeah, I watched it a lot when I was growing up, and I know all my friends did too. So yeah, it's a big sport for sure. You realize you reach long when you put that jersey on. So I was always a kind of a late bloomer, so I didn't play much junior national team, and I think that was under 20 when I was 18. I did my first tournament with them. So yeah, that's I will remember that for sure, and that's one of the biggest things you can do, like put on your national team jersey and play for the nation. That's a cool part.
Now, before we leave talking about your time in Sweden, I'm a foodie at heart, so I have to know what your favorite Swedish dish is, and is it something that you can get in Canada, or do you have to wait until you go home to get it?
I wouldn't say I have like a specific Swedish meal I would that I really don't can find here. So no, I mean I'm kind of used to Canadian food here now, and I think I said it before, but I'm not a big fan of the poutine. But otherwise, I like the yeah. You have good food here too, so I don't miss my Swedish food too much. Maybe the
And
candy, I would say, is something.
oh, the candy. We should
Yeah, that's
Swedish candy is a good
yeah,
thing.
yeah. It's a good thing. Yeah, even
let
if
me
I try to stay away from it.
well okay, let me ask you that. How much permission and leeway do you give yourself to indulge once in a while on the stuff that's maybe not so part of the strict professional athlete diet?
No, like you can treat yourself a little bit sometimes, but try to stay focused and not do it too often. But for sure, sometimes you treat yourself a little extra.
What kind of coming back now to where you're at presently, what has, we've talked plenty of times over the years that you've been pro about the different challenges you faced and how you've overcome them. What's been the key for you in keeping your head up through the whole process? I mean, you even talked about this earlier in this interview, how you've really learned to how to deal with the mental aspect of development and your year-to-year progress. But what's been the key to keeping your head up? Is it your support system? Is it a role model who's really been integral for you? What's it been that's really kept you moving forward and looking forward?
Uh, it's hard to say. I think I always live like if you work hard, you get what you deserve. And I mean, for me, I always dream of playing in the NHL. Like most of the guys who start playing hockey, and it's not always fun in the AHL. Like you want to be a part of the NHL and play there, but when you have that motivation to get some games, I got some games this year, and I got some games my second year too. Like you see you're close, and it drives you and motivates you for sure. So I mean. I like Montreal as an organization too, and been here a long time now. And I felt I developed as a player. And when you get those games and feel you're close to play NHL, yeah, that's what drives you, and that's what you work for every day to be a part of that team.
I know myself and my colleagues here at the AHL Report, I know we all feel that you're close as well. And yes, you did have another call up again this year for a stint of 6 or 7 games. How close do you feel you are at really making a call up stick? And what do you think is the aspects of your game that you most need to work on to make that happen?
Yeah, I think I played, as you said, a couple of games there after Christmas, and I felt really good. I mean, I was really on the right path there. I got sent down, and then I injured my wrist my first game back in AHL. So that was tough. Now I'm finally back, and was 2 months of hard rehab and kind of boring to just watch the guys play. But no, I just gonna keep finding and playing my game, and I feel you need to get a real chance and get a couple of games in a row to really show that you can play there. But I felt I was doing a good job up there when I was up, and hopefully I can get another shot.
Absolutely. And you certainly don't look out of place at all when you're playing in the NHL. Finally, just coming back to Laval in this season, as you're getting close to the postseason, and I asked this of one of your teammates earlier as well. You know how special this Laval Rocket team is and the talent that you have in the locker room and what the chemistry is like there. Once this team is able to make it to the postseason, how far do you truly believe this team can push into the playoffs?
I would say we for sure have the potential to go all the way. I mean, we have a really talented group, a lot of good guys, and we play for each other. So I mean, in playoffs, everything can happen, and it's going to be tight for sure. There's a lot of good teams, but we can come along as a group and play our best. We for sure have a good chance to go all the way, I would say.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck. The team has just been incredibly fun to watch this season, and we know that it's going to get even more fun and intense as the weeks wind down here. And we just wish you all the luck. Lukas, it is always a joy to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking some time with us today here on Habs Hockey Report. We'll be sure to have you back again soon.
Thank you, Amy. Thanks.
Once again, I thank Lukas for coming on to this show. He's always a terrific interview, always a pleasure to speak to, and just come back stronger than ever, Lukas. We know that you're going to fight this. We know you're going to, battle back, get strong over the summer, and we have our fingers crossed that you're going to have a very good season next year, and we wish you the best of luck. This week, because we had so much excitement with Laval clinching the playoffs and with that special interview with Lukas, we're going to take a 1-week hiatus from the Habs Fan Forum, but don't fret. It's going to be back next week. We're going to have #ShowYourHabs. Remember, when you post your pictures on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, use the #ShowYourHabs. We'll feature you here on the show. We will definitely be reading those feedback forum questions. Remember, the question of the week is, what is your favorite memory of Guy Lafleur? Drop those comments and memories down below in the comments section. We'll read them next week on the show. And last but not least, the All Habs mailbag is definitely open, particularly as Montreal is heading into the off-season. If you've got questions about the Habs, about the off-season, about Laval, about prospects, just drop us a comment down below. We'll put it in the All Habs mailbag, and we will open that up and answer some questions next week. In the meantime, if you really enjoyed today's interview with Lukas Vejdemo, and who couldn't? He's such a great young man to speak with. If you really enjoyed that interview, then you probably will also enjoy the interview we did last week with new Laval Rocket forward Nate Schnarr. Check that out right here, and we'll see you again next Thursday.